Hello everybody, it's Ronnie with Whip and Chain. I work with Maggie and Lauren to bring you fun crochet tutorials. And got a nice one here. This is a do-it-yourself crocheted heating pad. It has filler in it. You can stick it in the microwave and heat it up. And you can put it on your neck, your shoulders, your back, wherever you need it. And the nice thing is, you can make this any size that'll work for you. It is the moss stitch. This project actually goes pretty fast. I used rice for my filler because rice stays warm, but you can research all different kinds of safe fillers to put in the microwave. But make sure you use 100% cotton for this project. We're going to dive into it. Can't wait to see yours. Okay, we're going to see how this goes. I haven't done videos in almost a month because I ended up getting a really bad head and chest cold. It lasted for 2.5, 3 weeks. I was having coughing fits every time I talked, and even though the quote head and chest cold went away, the coughing fits when I talk still continue, and I ended up at urgent care, and I'm on some more meds. So if you notice a few extra pauses in here, it's because of coughing, and I am sucking on a sugar-free Ricola Halls or whatever they're called right now. So I apologize if you hear me jiggling that a little bit, not on purpose. I'm just trying to not have a coughing fit. All right, so the yarn I'm using for this project has to be 100% cotton. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It has to be 100% because this is going into the microwave. So my full disclaimer has to be, not even a little bit anything else, 100% cotton yarn, okay? I have some little balls extra, but I wanted them for you to see. This is the yellow that I used. This is, I guess, the brownish color that I used. Anyway, this is actually a really good scrap project. Just, you know, food for thought. So I have lost a ton of weight, so I took one of my old pair of sweat shorts, and I cut out a swatch of the size that I wanted to hold my rice. I am using rice. There is a ton of different things you can use to fill, but you need a bag to hold your product, because the crochet project, it will leak through and you'll have trust me, you'll have a nightmare of a mess. So what I did, it's not pretty. I'm not a sewer, so I'm going to turn it inside out so you can see what I did. As I sewed, I folded down the edges. This was the seam. There's no seam there. That's just a long, like cut out a long rectangle. So I'm going to show you a little bit of how I sewed this, but again, I am not a seamstress. I'm not a sewer. It's not in my realm of quite understanding, but I was honored by the inheritance of a sewing machine from my mother-in-law. So we're going to be taking that to the repair store to get a good cleaning and any servicing that it needs. I'm very excited to learn, because I could have just ran this through the sewing machine. So what I did, I just took some thread, used to saying yarn, took my hook. This thing has been a lifesaver. Getting old and trying to thread things is not a really good talent that I have. Now, disclaimer, you can make these any size you want. You can make them very large, you can make them very small. It's up to you. But be careful in the size you decide to make, because the whole theory behind this is you can pop it in the microwave so it can get warm. So you honestly don't want it too big. And all I did was this does not have to be pretty by any stretch, because it's going to be inside the project. So what I did is I fold this down, and then I'm sewing this shut. And the whole reason behind my theory behind it, it's not on the exact seam, so the rice, I'm using rice, can't come through it as easily. And then I'm just see, I already have a knot in there. I don't know if you can see it. So I'm going to sew up, just going around and around, and leave myself a little gap before I seal it shut to put in my rice. But remember, I want to turn this also. Oh, look, see, I am definitely not a sewer, but that's okay. I could edit these out, but I really don't want to, because I want you to see normalcy. I want you to see, you know, we all we all have our things that we're very good at versus some things that we struggle at. And I like you to see my little bloopers. To me, that's keeping it real. And I'm gonna just tie a little knot in here so nothing comes undone. I apologize for the coughs. I have been missing doing my videos. Videos do take quite a while to do. There's no such thing as just quickly banging out videos, at least my world. And this is a great project for anybody that suffers from body aches. If you like the heat when you have migraines, me personally, I like cold. But shoulder, neck, nice heat. And you can make the whole realm of colors. You can change your styles around. And this pattern will work, again, for any size. I know this is boring. I'll meet you up there. Okay. I left a little opening. Spilling my drink. I'm going to turn this right side out. Now again, this was just a rectangle that I cut out of old sweat shorts. And make sure you're using material, like this is stretchy cotton. Make sure you're using material that can go into the microwave. So then I have a funnel. I just bought generic rice, nothing real special. Let's see if I can do this on camera without making a hot mess. So put the funnel. Let me pull this camera up so you guys can see a little bit better. afraid to cut it too big. I believe I haven't made a mess yet. I'm going to put just a tiny bit more in. I'm very content with that amount. And I barely made a mess. Okay. So, then I fold this in. And I'm going to sew up my seam here. And I'll see you right at the end. Let me sew this up. Okay. It is not pretty. I never claimed to be a seamstress. But you're not going to see this. All you need this to do is to hold your filling. And there's tons of different choices of filling for this. You can use barley. You can use the rice. There's some kind of sand that heats up well too, lava sand I think it's called. But you can research it and find what you want to do. Because I think the sand actually stays warmer longer, but your choice, absolutely. Now I chose to do the moss stitch for this. So the only thing that you need to know about this project really, the starting chain has to be in multiples of 2. And when you get the width that you need, so say your width is 22, add 2 to it, because the starting chain you come in, you start in the 4th chain. So whatever width you get, my suggestion is add 2 more. I'm going to do a sample because I have my 2 swatches ready. And I am using a 4mm crochet hook. You do want this to be tighter. So, let's see. Bring it down. So just doing a chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and I'll do 14. Say that's the width. It's an even number. It's the width that I need. Please just add 2 more. Okay? That way you're not shorting yourself. So now I used the back horizontal bars, so I have a nice finish. I do recommend it, but you don't have to. All right. So if you're not going to use them, 4th chain from the hook. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll be going into that one. If you're going to do the back humps like me, what I do is I count 4, like I just showed you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I flip back and I find my 4th bar. And then you put a single crochet in there. Okay. Chain 1, skip 1 stitch, go to the next, put a single crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, a single crochet. chain 1, skip 1, single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, and then do this all the way down your chain. And then if your counts were even like they're supposed to be, you will land in the very last stitch. And you put your single crochet in there. Please chain 2 and you turn, and now you're just putting single crochets in the chain 1 spaces. So we always to begin you chain 2, then you go into those spaces and you put single crochets, chain 1, go into the next space, the chain 1 space. So you're putting single crochets in the chain 1 spaces, but in between each you have to chain 1, single crochet in that space, chain 1, find your next space, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, and you do that all the way down. And when you reach the end, this gap where you came into the 4th chain, you're just going to go put your hook in that full gap right there, not in a stitch, in the gap, and then you're going to put in a single crochet, chain 2, turn your work, and you're going to do the same thing. So it's just a 1 row repeat. There's my chain 1, a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet. So you're always putting, excuse me, apologize, my cough. So you're always putting your single crochets in the chain 1 spaces, and then you chain 1 in between. And that's this whole project. So you pick the width that you need, and you just keep repeating the same pattern. Now you are welcome to change your color every row, but let me warn you in advance, it is a lot of ends to weave in. So before you decide, make sure you're okay with doing a lot of end weaving, because if you're not, if you want, you can use like a color changing yarn. So you always go into that chain 2, not in the chain 2, but in that gap at the end to put your last single crochet. So I was saying you can use color changing yarn so you can see these, but these stitches work up so pretty just on general 1 color yarn. So then it's a chain 2, and you turn your work, and again you go into the chain 1 spaces. Okay, and that is this whole pattern. It is a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, and that is everything for this. It's a nice, easy, but it's a dense stitch, which I do recommend for this do-it-yourself heating pad. And this is what this is going to look like. And you make it as big as you want. Okay. And the other thing I'm going to recommend, when you get your piece to the size that you want, don't cut your yarn off yet. When you're done, say you're done on this project. This is the size that you want. I want you to chain 1, and I want you to go into all the stitches and just put a single crochet in each one, going around the entire project. And then when you hit the corners, you put in 3 single crochets. This is going to be, this is what this is going to do, is this is going to make it very easy to join these 2 pieces together, because you need to make 2. So in the corners, you put 3 single crochets and then 1 single crochet in every stitch. So what I do suggest is when you're going down, whatever's on top should be on bottom. So if you have 40 single crochets, not counting your corners, 40 single crochets, there should be 40 single crochets on the bottom. If you have 30 on each side, then you should have 30, but don't count your corner. So in your corner, do your 3 single crochets, but count your stitches. So when you want to join these, here's mine. When you want to join these, you're not going to be struggling. I did 2 different colors at matching stitches for stitches, because it can get very frustrating very fast. Okay, so now remember, you need 2 pieces. I chose 2 different colors just because there's no real reason. And for the border, now I'm not going to put in my insert until I have a lot of this done. So what I do is I find the center of the 3 stitches. And on each one, and I put my hook through it. Okay. Grab some yarn, bring it through. Chain 1, go back into that same stitch and do a single crochet. That will hold it together better. So now you go into the next stitch, you're on both of them, bring your yarn through and you slip stitch, chain 1. Okay, then you go back through the next 2, and you slip stitch and chain 1, and that's what you're going to do for your whole border. You go in, slip stitch, chain 1. So you don't do anything special in the corners except what we're doing right now. Make sure your yarn is nice and tight, slip stitch, chain 1. Slip stitch, chain 1. Slip stitch, chain 1. And this gives it a beautiful little edge. So all it is slip stitch, chain 1. You don't do anything different in the corners that we're doing now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 3 sides and maybe a quarter of the 4th one before I even add my center. And I'm going to meet you back here when that's done so we can finish this off together. Okay, came around, I left a little gap to put in my bag, and as you can see, plenty of room for it. So get it in there. There we go. I probably could have made this cover a little smaller, but I'm very happy with it. Very content. All right. After you have your bag in there and you're happy with it, all you have to do is finish what's left of your border. Which is slip stitch and chain one. Now, I did want to talk to you. If you're going to make these and give them as gifts to somebody, I would strongly recommend you weaving in your ends very well, because sometimes when you just hide them into the center, they can show their face and pop out during use or whatever. And the people that you give it to might think that they broke it or ripped it, and here it's just a tail that you didn't weave in. So me personally, if you're making these, I like to do all weave ends in, all end weaving in. That way nothing's popping out and the people are afraid that they did something to it. And by checking your counts when you do your single crochet around, makes doing this border an absolute breeze. Sorry for my noises. And with my last stitch, chain one, and then you slip stitch to the first single crochet that you did. And chain one. And here is your own heating pad. You can put it in the microwave for as long as you need. Make sure you don't cook it in the microwave, but this is as long as you used microwave safe bag and cotton yarn, you're good to go. Okay. Well, thank you for watching this tutorial. I really had a lot of fun making it with you. And our work in progress is never finished. There's always something to do. Till next time, happy crocheting.